Benvenuti alle conversazioni e bentornati a Writers on Writers. Gli ospiti di questa settimana sono Michael Stuhlbarg, che ha scelto Melville, Karen Green, che ha scelto Brooks, Isabella Rossellini, che ha scelto Luciano De Crescenzo, e Julie Taymor, che ha scelto Garner. Io leggerò alla fine del volume una semplice ma meravigliosa frase di Giacomo Leopardi.
The white whale swam before him as the monomaniac incarnation of all those malicious agencies which some deep men feel eating in them, till they are left living on with half a heart and half a lung. That intangible malignity which has been from the beginning. Ahab did not fall down and worship it, but deliriously transferring its idea to the abhorred white whale, he pitted himself all mutilated against it. All that most maddens and torments. All that stirs up the lees of things. All truth with malice in it. All that cracks the sinews and cakes the brain. All the subtle demonisms of life and thought all evil to crazy Ahab were visibly personified and made practically assailable in Moby Dick. He piled upon the white whale's hump the sum of all the general rage and hate felt by his whole race from Adam down, and then, as if his chest had been a mortar, he burst his hot heart's shell upon it.
And if sun comes, how shall we greet him? Shall we not dread him? Shall we not fear him after so lengthy a session with shade? Though we have wept for him, though we have prayed all through the night years, what if we wake one shimmering morning to hear the fierce hammering of his firm knuckles hard on the door? Shall we not shudder? Shall we not flee into the shelter, the dear, thick shelter of the familiar, propitious haze? Sweet is it to sleep in the coolness of snug unawareness. The dark hangs heavily over the eyes.
Il dubbio del mio grande amico Luciano De Crescenzo. Credi in Dio? Certo che ci credo. Ma ci credi proprio per davvero? Ah, per davvero. E non hai mai dubitato, nemmeno per una volta, per un attimo solo. Ma in che senso? Nel senso che ti è venuto, non richiesto, un pensierino del tipo e poi non c'è più nulla? Se tutto si concludesse con la morte e chi si è visto si è visto. Oddio, certo che mi è capitato, come a tutti credo, però uno poi ci ragiona su e si riconvince di nuovo. Oppure dubita ancora di più. Posso farti una domanda alquanto difficile? Falla pure. Quanti anni hai? Ma 20, lo sai benissimo. E quanti anni ancora credi di poter vivere? Ma che razza di domanda è questa? Cosa vuoi che ne sappia? Ne potrei vivere 80 come nessuno. Non vedo però che c'entri questo con l'esistenza di Dio. Ah, certo che c'entra. Dimmi piuttosto quanto tempo è necessario perché passino 80 anni. Beh, ovviamente 80 anni. Ma ne sei proprio sicuro? Oh, bella. 80 anni non possono che durare 80 anni, mi sembra ovvio. E invece non è ovvio proprio per niente. 80 anni a volte possono durare pochissimo, altre volte non finire mai. Come vedi, il concetto di tempo è altrettanto imprecisabile come il concetto di Dio. La pretesa di capire il tempo è di un'ambizione sovrumana, un po' come la pretesa di capire Dio.
I'm going to read from Grendel by John Gardner, which is the Beowulf legend from the monster's point of view. The old ram stands looking down over rock slides, stupidly triumphant. I blink. I stare in horror. Scat, I hiss. Go back to your cave. Go back to your cowshed. Whatever. He cocks his head like an elderly, slow-witted king, considers the angles, decides to ignore me. I stamp, I hammer the ground with my fists. I hurl a skull-sized stone at him. He will not budge. I shake my 2 hairy fists at the sky, and I let out a howl so unspeakable that the water at my feet turns sudden ice, and even I myself am left uneasy. But the ram stays on. The season is upon us. And so begins the 12th year of my idiotic war. The pain of it, the stupidity. Ah, well, I sigh and shrug, trudge back to the trees. Do not think my brains are squeezed shut like the ram's by the roots of horns. Flanks that tremble, eyes like stones. He stares at as much of the world as he can see and feels it surging in him, filling his chest as the melting snow fills dried-out creek beds, tickling his gross, lopsided balls, and charging his brains with the same unrest that made him suffer last year at this time, and the year before, and the year before that. He's forgotten them all. His hind parts shiver with the usual joyful, mindless ache to mount whatever happens near. The storm piling up black towers to the west, some rotting docile stump, some spraddle-legged yew. Ugh, I cannot bear to look. Why can't these creatures discover a little dignity, I ask the sky. The sky says nothing, predictably. I make a face, uplift a defiant middle finger, and give an obscene little kick. The sky ignores me, forever unimpressed. Him too I hate, the same as I hate these brainless, budding trees, these brattling birds. Not, of course, that I fool myself with thoughts that I'm more noble, pointless, ridiculous monster, crouched in the shadows, stinking of dead men, murdered children, martyred cows. I'm neither proud nor ashamed, understand. One more dull victim, leering at seasons that never were meant to be observed. Ah, sad one, poor old freak, I cry, and hug myself and laugh, letting out salt tears, till I fall down gasping and sobbing. It's mostly fake. The sun spins mindlessly overhead. The shadows lengthen and shorten as if by plan. Small birds with high-pitched yelp lay eggs. The tender grasses peek up, innocent yellow, through the ground, the children of the dead. It was just here, this shocking green, that once when the moon was tombed in clouds, I tore off sly old Athelgard's head. Here, where the startling tiny jaws of crocuses snap at the late winter's sun like the heads of baby water snakes. Here, I killed the old woman with the iron-gray hair. She tasted of urine and spleen, which made me spit. Sweet mulch for yellow blooms. Such are the tiresome memories of a shadow shooter, earth-rim roamer, walker of the world's weird wall. Wah! I cry, with another quick, nasty face at the sky, mournfully observing the way it is, bitterly remembering the way it was, and idiotically casting tomorrow's nets. Ah! Yeah! I reel, smash trees, disfigured son of lunatics. The big, bold oaks gaze down at me yellow with mourning, beneath complexity. No offense, I say, with a terrible sycophantish smile, and tip an imaginary hat. It was not always like this, of course. On occasion, it's been worse. No matter. No matter. The doe in the clearing goes stiff at sight of my horridness, then remembers her legs and is gone. It makes me cross. Blind prejudice, I bawl at the splintered sunlight where half a second ago she stood. I wring my fingers, put on a long face. The unfairness of everything I say, and shake my head. It is a matter of fact that I have never killed a deer in all my life and never will. Cows have much more meat, locked up in pens, and are much easier to catch. It is true, perhaps, that I feel some trifling dislike of deer, but no more dislike than I feel for other natural things, discounting men. But deer, like rabbits and bears and even men, can make concerning my race no delicate distinctions. That is their happiness. They see all life without observing it. They're buried in it like crabs in mud, except men, of course. I am not in a mood just yet to talk of men. So it goes with me, day by day, and age by age. I tell myself, locked in the deadly progression of moon and stars. I shake my head, muttering darkly on shaded paths, holding conversation with the only friend and comfort this world affords, my shadow. Wild pigs clatter away through brush. A baby bird falls feet up in my path, squeaking. With a crabby laugh I let him lie, kind heaven's merciful bounty to some sick fox. So it goes with me, age by age, talking, spinning a web of words, pale walls of dreams between myself and all I see.
Come anticipato, vi leggerò una frase di Giacomo Leopardi. I fanciulli trovano il tutto nel nulla, gli uomini il nulla nel tutto. Buona settimana e buona lettura.